I never thought I'd be the guy writing a story like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been with my wife, Emily, for about 5 years now. We got married pretty young, and for a while things seemed solid. She's always been a bit fiery, bitchy, honestly, and she's got that sharp tongue that can cut you if you're not careful. But I loved her, believed in us, and honestly I thought we had something real. Things started feeling off about 2 weeks ago. Emily became more distant, secretive even. She'd disappear for hours without explanation, and when I asked where she'd been, she'd brush it off with some bullshit excuse about work or needing me time. I didn't think much of it at first. We were busy, life was hectic, and maybe she just needed space. But then I noticed little things: phone calls at odd hours, her messages being deleted more often, her brushing past me if I tried to look over her shoulder when she was on her phone. That's when I started sensing something was wrong. I'd always trusted her, but now I was questioning everything. Then last Thursday night, I decided to check her phone, not because I was paranoid, okay, maybe a little, but because I had this gut feeling that she was hiding something. I waited until she was out of the house for a girls' night, or so she said. I grabbed her phone and started going through it. I know, big mistake, but I couldn't help myself. And what I found shattered me into a million pieces. There were messages from someone named Jason, and they weren't innocent. They were flirtatious, full of suggestive language, even outright dirty talk. Photos, oh God, the photos, her in bed with him, her lying there with her legs spread, topless, and a few shots of her kissing him. I saw the text where she was telling him how amazing he made her feel and how she couldn't wait to see him again. It wasn't just a one-time thing, it looked like they'd been doing this for weeks. I couldn't breathe. My stomach dropped and my mind went numb. I sat there staring at the phone, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. I was angry, hurt, betrayed. All that trust I'd built, gone in an instant. I wanted to scream, cry, do something. But I just sat there, frozen. How could she do this? How could she cheat on me with my best man, no less? Jason, the guy I trusted most, my closest friend. And Emily, she's always been bitchy, yes, but I never thought she was capable of this kind of betrayal. Suddenly, everything felt like a lie, like I didn't know who she really was. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about that picture of her with Jason, her lying there so vulnerable, so exposed. I kept thinking about all the times she'd lied to me, the way she'd brushed off my concerns. I felt sick. I felt stupid for trusting her, for believing she was faithful. And I knew, deep down, that this was just the beginning of something I wasn't ready for. I had to confront her, but I didn't know how. I just knew that I couldn't pretend I didn't see it anymore. This was going to change everything. The next day, I couldn't focus on anything else. My mind kept circling back to those photos, those messages. I felt like I was walking around in a fog, trying to hold my composure but knowing I was on the edge of losing it. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it coming, how I could have been so blind to her lies. It was like the trust I thought we had been a house of cards, and the slightest gust knocked it all down. I decided I couldn't just sit around waiting to explode or do something impulsive. I needed to confront her, get some answers, though I already knew the answers wouldn't be pretty. So when she came home that evening, I was already waiting in the living room, her phone in my hand. She looked surprised, maybe even a little annoyed that I was already there. "Hey, babe," she said, trying to sound casual, but her voice was a little too forced. "What's going on?" I looked at her, holding her phone out. "Who's Jason?" I asked calmly, but my voice was tight, my heart pounding. She froze, her eyes widening just for a second, then she scoffed. "Really? That's what you're gonna start with?" She snapped. "It's none of your business, just trust me, it's nothing serious." "Nothing serious?" I felt my blood boil. "Nothing serious, are you kidding me?" "I saw the pictures, Emily, the messages. How long has this been going on? How many times have you been sleeping with him behind my back?" Her face twisted into a sneer. "Oh, please, you think I'm some kind of slut? Jason's just a guy who makes me feel good. You're so boring, Jake. You're always working, never paying attention to me. I needed some excitement. Sorry if that hurts your fragile little ego." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The coldness in her voice, the way she just dismissed everything. It was like she didn't even care that I was hurt, betrayed. I felt a mix of rage and despair, and I knew I had to say something that would cut her deep, the way she'd cut me. "You slept with my best man," I managed to say through clenched teeth. "The guy I trusted most, the guy I considered my brother, and you're just going to brush it off. You think I'm stupid enough to believe that's all it is, that this is just some stupid fling." She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. "You're overreacting as usual. Honestly, I don't know what you want from me. You're so possessive, so paranoid. Maybe I should have kept this a secret, huh? Maybe I should have just gone out and fucked him in front of you." That was the last straw. I saw red. All the pain, all the betrayal boiled over in that moment. I told her to get out, to leave the house. And she did, with that same bitchy smirk on her face, as if she didn't care about the damage she'd done. I was left standing there, trembling with fury and disbelief. For hours after she left, I sat alone in the quiet of our house, staring at her phone. I kept replaying everything she said, everything she did. I realized I'd been a fool. I'd always put her first, believed in us, and she'd been lying and cheating behind my back the whole time. It felt like my world was crumbling. I hated her for what she did, but I also hated myself for not seeing it sooner. My trust was shattered, and I knew I'd never look at her the same way again. I was drowning in a mix of heartbreak and pure, unfiltered rage. That night was the worst night of my life. I kept thinking about everything, the way she lied, the way she looked at me with that sneer like I was some inconvenience to her. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so trusting. She had always been sharp-tongued, difficult, but I never thought she'd cheat on me with my best man, Jason. That guy was supposed to be my brother, my friend. We'd been through so much together, and now I found out he'd been betraying me too. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her in bed with him. That picture burned into my mind. I kept asking myself what I did wrong, why she didn't love me enough to be honest. I was angry at her. More than angry, I was devastated. How could she lie to my face, tell me everything was fine, then go behind my back? And Jason, how could he do this to me, to us? I used to think he was one of my closest friends, someone I'd trust with my life. Turns out, he was just waiting for the right moment to stab me in the back. The next morning, I woke up feeling hollow. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what. Part of me wanted to call her, scream at her, tell her how much she'd hurt me. But I also knew that wouldn't fix anything. I needed a plan, a way to get revenge, to make her feel what I was feeling now. I started thinking about everything she said that night. Her bitchy tone, her excuses, her blaming me for her cheating. She always was good at twisting things around, making herself the victim. She insisted she needed excitement, but what she really wanted was to destroy what we had. I started digging into Jason's social media, trying to find more proof, more dirt. I found some more photos, even some messages between them that she hadn't deleted yet. I kept thinking about the way she'd lied about everything, about how she'd make me doubt myself, turn the tables. I wanted to see if there was more to this, if she was hiding other guys, or if this was just a one-time slip. But I already knew the truth. She'd been cheating on me for weeks, maybe longer. The thought made my stomach churn. I realized I couldn't just let this go. I had to make her regret it, had to make her see that I was not some fool she could walk over. I didn't want to be with a wife who lied and cheated, who thought she could get away with anything. I needed to do something that would hit her where it hurt. I started planning my revenge, not in some childish way, but in a calculated, deliberate way. I wanted her to see that I wasn't the kind of guy who'd just take this and walk away. She needed to understand that her actions had consequences. Over the next few days, I kept silent, pretending everything was normal while I gathered my thoughts and evidence. I wanted her to think I was clueless, to believe she could lie and manipulate her way out of this. I played it cool, but inside I was boiling. I didn't want her to see how much she'd broken me, but I knew I had to be patient. The moment was coming when I'd make her pay for what she did, when I'd turn her world upside down, just like she did mine. By the fourth day, I was ready. I had everything I needed, screenshots of the messages, photos, and even some of her recent location data that confirmed she'd been meeting Jason more often than she admitted. I stayed quiet, pretending to go about my day, but inside I was brewing a storm. I knew I wanted to confront her again, but this time I wasn't going to hold back. I needed her to feel the full weight of her betrayal. Late that evening, I called her. She answered with that usual bitchy tone, like she was already annoyed I was bothering her. I told her I needed to talk serious stuff. She was skeptical but agreed to come over later that night. When she arrived, I was already waiting in the living room, my phone clutched tightly in my hand. She looked her usual sharp, bitchy self, but I'd seen through her act. I knew her game now. Without wasting time, I put the phone on the table and showed her everything. I scrolled through the screenshots, the photos, the location logs. Her face went pale, then flushed with anger. She tried to spin some bullshit about how I had no right invading her privacy, how it was all just a misunderstanding, but I knew better. I saw her trying to lie, to deny, but there was no way out. The proof was right there, her lies, her cheating, her betrayal. Her reaction was classic. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and started calling me paranoid, accusing me of stalking her. That only made me more furious. "Why, Emily?" I asked, voice trembling with rage. "How could you do this? With Jason, my best man, the guy I trusted the most? Did you even care about me enough to tell me the truth?" She snapped back, "You're overreacting. It's not what it looks like, it's just sex, just two people who needed some excitement. You've been so boring lately, Jake. You're always working, never paying attention to me. Maybe I was just trying to feel alive again." That was the moment I snapped. I told her she was a selfish, manipulative bitch who didn't care about anyone but herself. I told her that I knew she'd been lying, cheating, and that I was tired of her bullshit. I said I was done playing nice, that I was going to make her regret her actions. I told her I had enough evidence to destroy her if I wanted, but I wasn't going to stoop that low. Not yet. Instead, I laid out my plan. I wanted her to see that I wasn't going to be the guy she could stomp on. I told her I'd give her a choice: she could come clean, end the affair, and maybe, just maybe, we could work through this. Or she could keep lying, keep playing her games, and face the consequences. I knew she hated losing control, and I was banking on that. Her face twisted again, that same bitchy glare that I'd come to despise. She spat out some more lies, some half-hearted apologies that sounded hollow, but I saw through it. I saw the fear behind her eyes, the fear of losing everything she thought she had. I was done being the nice guy. I wanted her to feel what I was feeling: embarrassment, shame, heartbreak. And I was willing to do whatever it took to make that happen. The next few days were like walking through a minefield. I kept my distance, pretending everything was normal, but inside I was planning my move. I wanted her to think she still had some control, some power, but I wasn't going to let her keep fooling herself. I knew she was used to being the bitchy, manipulative wife who always got what she wanted, but now I was about to turn the tables completely. I started dropping subtle hints, like sending her texts with no real meaning but just enough to keep her guessing. I wanted her to think I was still invested, still interested, so she wouldn't suspect what I was really up to. Meanwhile, I was digging into her phone again, looking for more incriminating evidence, planning exactly what I was going to do when the moment was right. Her lies were starting to unravel, and I was going to use that to my advantage. Finally, the night came when I felt ready. I arranged for her to come over for a talk, but I knew it was going to be more than that. I wanted her to face the reality that I wasn't the fool she thought I was. When she arrived, I had everything laid out on the table: screenshots, photos, the location logs, everything that proved her treachery. She looked furious, defensive, but I could see the flicker of doubt in her eyes. I confronted her again, calmly but with a steel edge. I played her recordings of her laughing with Jason, her dirty texts, her photos. Her face twisted in anger and denial. She tried to call me crazy, accused me of stalking her, said she'd never cheated and I was just jealous. But I didn't buy it. I told her I didn't care what she said anymore. This was real and I had the proof. Her bitchy attitude came out full force. She spat out insults, called me paranoid, said I was ruining everything because I didn't trust her. I told her she was a liar, a cheat, and that I was done pretending. I gave her one last chance. She could admit everything, end it with Jason, and maybe we could move past this. Or she could keep digging herself deeper and I'd make sure everyone knew what she really was. She looked at me with that same smirk, like she was trying to act like she still had control. But I saw through it. I knew she was scared, because she knew I wasn't bluffing anymore. I told her she had 1 hour to decide: either She was honest with me, or I was going to make sure her little secrets found their way out to everyone we knew. I wanted her to understand she'd crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. As she stormed out, cursing and yelling, I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I'd made my decision. I was done trusting her. I was done pretending everything was okay. But inside, I also felt the ache of betrayal, knowing I'd lost someone I thought I loved, someone I thought was my partner for life. That bitchy, manipulative side of her had come out full force, and now I knew she'd never be the same. Neither of us would. And honestly, I didn't know if I'd ever forgive her or if I even wanted to. All I knew was that my life had just changed forever. In the days that followed, everything shifted. My house felt emptier than ever, even though she was technically gone. I stayed up late, staring at the ceiling, replaying the last confrontation over and over. Part of me still hoped she'd come back and admit everything, that she'd see how much she'd screwed up, but deep down, I knew that was a pipe dream. She had shown her true colors. She was a bitchy, manipulative woman who thought she could get away with anything, including cheating on her own husband. I decided to take control of my life again, even if it hurt like hell. There were moments I felt like breaking down, crying all the tears I'd been holding back, but I pushed through. I realized that the pain was part of healing, part of moving on. I started seeing a counselor, not because I wanted to forget her, but because I needed to understand how I let it get this far. I also told my close friends what had happened, not for sympathy, but because I needed to hear what others saw in this mess. Most of them told me I was better off without her, that she was a selfish, lying bitch who didn't deserve my trust. The worst part wasn't just her cheating. It was the fact that I'd been so naive, so blinded by love that I missed the signs. And Jason, I don't even want to talk about him anymore. The betrayal runs deep. But honestly, I'm starting to see things clearer now. I realize I deserve someone who respects me, who values honesty, not someone who sleeps with my best man behind my back. I'm not perfect, and I won't pretend I'm over it. The wounds are fresh, and there are nights I still wake up feeling sick to my stomach. But I know I have to move forward. I've learned that some people are just not worth the pain, and sometimes, the best thing you can do is cut your losses and walk away. I don't hate her. I just feel sorry for her, for the way she's chosen to live her life, lying and cheating her way through it. Looking back, I wish I'd trusted myself more, seen the signs earlier, but maybe that's part of life's lessons. I hope others in my shoes realize that betrayal cuts deep, but it also gives you a chance to rebuild, to find a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser. I may never forget what she did, but I will learn from it. And someday, I believe I'll find someone who's worthy of my trust and love, not someone who's willing to throw everything away for a quick thrill or a lie. I've lost a lot, but I've also gained clarity, and for now, that's enough.